TPS. This is TPS. TPS means temporary protected status, and there are about 12 different countries on that list. Principally, I work with people from El Salvador and Venezuela and Nicaragua who are on the list, but there are other countries like Haiti and Ukraine and Somalia and Sudan that are on that list. Who creates TPS? Well, Department of Homeland Security does, and by extension that means the president. So whoever's president can designate a country for protections under TPS. Afghanistan is under protections from TPS. I think Biden initiated that. So if you have TPS, you got some benefits under immigration law, even if you don't have any other way to stay in the United States legally. With TPS, you qualify for a work permit. Your status is legal while you're here and under TPS, and you can qualify for certain benefits like in-state college tuition, and you can get a driver's license and potentially some healthcare benefits. So in 2001 is when El Salvador was first designated a country to have TPS protections, and it's been renewed every 18 months or so. The problem is in 2018, then President Trump tried to, terminate TPS for El Salvadorans, and it was blocked by a court lawsuit. Otherwise, Salvadorans would be screwed. No, if Trump's going to follow through and try to cancel it again. So if you have TPS, you're concerned about your future. Well, one of the things you can also do with TPS is you can apply for and travel outside the United States on advance parole and then come back. And when you come back, you're legally allowed to re-enter, and they stamp your passport. They give you a lawful entry into the U.S. That's really valuable because if you have a lawful entry into the U.S. now, if you have a U.S. citizen daughter or son, or if you have a U.S. citizen's husband or wife, now you can immediately apply for a green card and do what's called adjustment of status, which is to apply for a green card without leaving and without filing for a waiver. It's fantastic. It's a huge benefit. It's a big game changer. So if you have TPS, what are you waiting for? You need to travel now and get advanced parole, leave and come back, and get that stamp in your passport so that you can adjust status. When the next president comes in, he might take away advanced parole. He might destroy TPS. So one of the things you can do and should be doing, should have already done, is applied for and traveled on advanced parole. Now, let's say you're in one of those countries that are favored nations like Afghanistan, Ukraine, and maybe the government will continue to extend TPS. How can you lose TPS? Well, one of the ways you can lose TPS is by getting arrested for crimes. Specifically, if you suffer one felony conviction or 2 misdemeanors, you'll no longer be qualified for TPS, and it'll be revoked, and they can initiate deportation proceedings against you. So you want to be careful, and you want to obey the law. Okay, so that's TPS, and it could be a path to legalization if you have relatives with papers and you get advanced parole. So if you haven't done it yet, go get yourself an advanced parole. You can even travel on emergency advanced parole and travel even before New Year's Eve. And come back. So that's what I would do if I were on TPS and didn't have that stamp in my passport, because we just don't know what's going to happen after January 20th when Trump is supposed to be taking power. But we know that whatever does happen, it's not going to be good for the immigration community. So that's TPS.